Hi, everybody. I want to tell you today about people analytics study and what we discovered. So people analytics is talk about where it came from. This has really been around for many decades. And originally we were doing basic reporting. We used basic reporting tools. We used HR metrics like headcount, turnover rates, span of control, training spend, time to fill, all of these kind of HR metrics. And over the last couple of decades, we've had like people analytics really evolve into a full discipline. And now we have a profession that's staffed with data scientists, we have industrial psychologists, we have AI experts, we have organizational behavioral science experts. So really important and high-powered people that are all trying to solve the company's biggest business problems. And companies have invested a lot in this. So today, actually, 3 in 4 companies have a dedicated people analytics team. 73% invest in people analytics technology, and 69% of managers use people data to make business decisions. But has this investment actually paid off? How is it actually addressing business problems? What we found is that while technical capabilities have made it a lot easier to aggregate data, to clean the data, to analyze, to present data, people analytics teams still often struggle to have a direct business impact. So really focusing on what are the big questions that we can solve for the business. When we interviewed one of our people analytics leaders of a very large global technology company, she explained to us that the worst outcome is spending month and month on analysis. And then when you present it to the business, the response is, oh, that was interesting. Often those people that are in a position to actually take action on that ignore these interesting analysis altogether. So you kind of all your work oftentimes is wasted. What the most important and most mature companies do is they operate like business consultancies. So they really address, like get close to the business, studying kind of data about the organization, but not just people data, but they really integrate it with sales data, with operational data, with kind of location data, skills data from other organizations. They correlate all of these kind of bigger insights to answer questions like this. Where should we open our new facilities? How do we fill skill gaps? Where should be our leadership pipeline? What hybrid work options should we execute on that's best suited for driving performance and engagement? How should we staff our manufacturing lines, for example, to increase productivity? What differentiates the most successful store managers if we're a retail company? And how can we replicate that with other store managers? Or how do we proactively prevent strikes and work stoppages? All of these big business questions cannot be addressed when you're just thinking about people analytics in a silo. In our study, we introduced the concept of systemic business analytics. And systemic business analytics means you're expanding people analytics from this academic, maybe research-focused HR discipline into a very pragmatic, very action-oriented business function. And what you have to do there is basically you've got to integrate all these different data points, people data, operational data, work data, sales data. You have to leverage AI-powered analytics technology to give insights to managers and employees and leaders and anybody who needs to take action, because most of the time the action can't be taken by the people analytics teams, and oftentimes the action can't be taken by HR either. So how do you distribute that? How do you democratize these insights? You need to use technology for that. And the last area, very, very important too, is how do you build a data culture? So how do you build a culture where people are looking for data, they're using it for decision making, they're constantly like upskilling and up-leveling their own analytics capabilities. They use storytelling, and they basically put business data into the business context where they matter most. As we found out, only 10% of companies are really good at this, but those companies they have much better business outcomes. They are 3 times more likely, for example, to exceed their financial targets. They're also 3 times more likely to delight their customers. So they're higher performing financially. Their customers are happier. Of course, they also improve workforce productivity by 8 times. They become much more diverse and inclusive, also by 8 times. But then also, they're much more likely to innovate effectively, 7 times more likely to innovate effectively, and 9 times more likely to adapt well to change. So it really, really matters to go to systemic business analytics to expand from this kind of internal focused HR discipline and build on all of that great work that we've done over the last 2 decades or so to put people analytics into the hand of the business, connect it across the entire organization and make it work.
For most companies right now, people analytics maturity is still in the early stages of development, especially in the ways organizations leverage insights to craft their business strategies. Many companies still focus on basic reporting, getting the data right and consolidated, and oftentimes they rely on leaders' gut feeling to make key business decisions. Some companies still do manual data collection and use spreadsheets, and this typically results in inconsistent and fragmented data sets. Others have progressed a bit, and a select few have even mastered the art of predictive analytics and AI to navigate the future of the organization. So the landscape is pretty rich in terms of maturity levels. We asked business and HR leaders about where they stand on about 62 unique practices across our systemic business analytics framework. And we found that most organizations currently operate with a people analytics approach that is HR focused rather than business oriented. We typically compose a maturity model to describe the market, which has 4 levels. Level 1 is the least mature, and level 4 has the highest maturity levels. In our systemic business analytics study, we found that level 1 is, we call it sporadic HR reporting. Companies perform poorly here in terms of people analytics, and they typically have little to no expertise in the field. They prioritize reporting instead. They don't have a dedicated team. Interestingly enough, though, this is 40% of respondents, so a pretty high representation of the market right now lies at level 1. Level 2, we call that integrated HR analytics. And at this level, companies do some work in terms of analytics, but the focus is operational. It revolves around measuring and understanding HR, and it occupies another 35%. So levels 1 and 2 together take up 75% of the cases right now. Level 3, systemic people analytics, is where organizations become more strategic. They leverage analytics to solve people problems, and they see some excellent outcomes that impact people experience and productivity. This corresponds to 15% of respondents. And level 4, the highest maturity level, what we call the systemic business analytics level, is where companies outperform all others in terms of business and innovation outcomes. Because they focus beyond HR, they use analytics to solve critical business challenges and to drive business transformation. And when companies adopt that mindset, that level 4 maturity level, all business outcomes, people outcomes, productivity outcomes improve, but innovation in particular is increased by 41%, which is pretty high. However, only 10% of the respondents find themselves at this level. If we were to summarize the key findings of our study, it would come down to this. People analytics has a significant impact on financial performance and innovation, but only 10% of companies can tie the data that they're collecting to solving key business challenges. High-performing organizations, those who get it, who do this amazingly well, are able to integrate seamlessly people, organizational work, and sales data to get richer insights out of the data they're collecting. And solving business problems goes beyond analyzing data. It's not about having interesting analysis that we can discuss about. It's about driving actionable outcomes. What we're going to do about the insights and the data that we collected. And the data and the insights are not so useful unless they come to the right hands at the right time. And the right hands is everyone across the organizations, but especially managers. Access to timely data is key for better business decisions in the flow of work every day. And Reaching the level for maturity and talking about systemic business analytics actually comes along with some capabilities that need to be developed. Capabilities to understand data, to analyze data, to tell meaningful stories about data, and these capabilities need to be developed for everyone across the organization. HR, managers, the people analytics team, to make sure that everyone's on the same page. Lastly, we cannot expect to do this without the use of technology and specifically the use of AI that helps scale and accelerate the impact of analytics across the organization.